Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of ESI Digest. As always, I'm your host, Adam Fitch. I'm also the editor of Esports Insider. Not going to waste any time this week, as usual. Short and sweet, get you up to date with what's going on in the industry. And especially this week, it has been hectic, both positively and negatively. There's been big movements in terms of establishing facilities and venues across the United States and indeed internationally. And there's been a couple of partnerships that have raised some eyebrows, sparked some debate and public backlash, and even like internal turmoil at Riot Games, like the biggest developer basically. Obviously the developer behind League of Legends and Valorant and some other titles. So the first story I want to kick things off with is quite positive, and it's Vindex. So it's the company founded by Sepso and Sundance, the co-founders of MLG, as well as Adam Fitch. It has acquired Games Belong Gaming Arenas brand. So Belong, I think there are 24 gaming facilities and venues around the UK at the moment. Where people off the street can go in and compete and play with friends and such, and it's supposed to be a way to kind of spark the interest of people when it comes to esports and kind of kickstart the interest there and thus obviously build the audience, the player base and everything in between. Now, not only has Vindex acquired the brand, but it's acquired all the associated IP, and it will work with Games still as a licensed operator in the UK. But it has very lofty plans, like 500 venues in the next 5 years across the US, 1,000 internationally with a focus on Europe. And it's partnered with Andbox, which is the parent company of the New York franchises in Overwatch and Call of Duty, as well as Envy Gaming, obviously the parent company of Team Envy, as well as the franchises for Dallas in Overwatch and Call of Duty. And it's also named Martin Gibbs as the CEO of Belong. Adam Fitch is not only just the CEO of Esports Engine, but now the Chief Experience Officer of Vindex. And Rahul Jaiswal, hopefully I've got that pronunciation correct, has been appointed as the Finance Director of Vindex. So a lot of changes over there. They're planning to invest $300 million in the next 5 years. And now I see it as a battle against Nerd Street Gamers and Allied Esports and Entertainment to see who can establish this infrastructure and this network. I'm not sure if it's a case of everybody can survive or whether a monopoly is the best bet. It seems like Nerd Street Gamers is going for like the mall approach, and we're not quite sure just yet how Vindex will tackle it, but I guess we'll find out very soon, as they are actively trying to develop things at the moment. Obviously a bit of a weird time in COVID world, but it might actually be the smartest decision. And the people behind Vindex are incredibly intelligent, so it'd be really interesting to see what goes on there. And next we'll get into the kind of negative story of the week, and that's NEOM. I'm going to pronounce it NEOM, but it's NEOM. It's supposed to be like a highly technological, highly developed city that's being built on the border of Saudi Arabia. So on July 28th, Blast, which is a Copenhagen and London, I believe, based tournament operator and organizer, partnered with NEOM, and that was like an infrastructure deal. So they would help make sure that NEOM becomes the esports hub for the region, and it would help with its esports academy and initiatives and such. And then a day after, on the 29th of July, LEC, which is the top flight of European competition for Riot Games' League of Legends, also partnered with NEOM, but that was more of a we'll slap your logo on this broadcast segment, and it seemed to be only for the remaining weeks in the summer split, which I think we're on week 7 now, so not many left. Nonetheless, the LEC announcement went massive, and in a bad way, because of obviously the things that go on in Saudi Arabia and such. I don't really want to get into politics on this podcast, but people weren't happy, right? And it took less than 24 hours for the partnership to kind of be revoked, to be terminated. And at the time of recording this and writing the article that accompanies this podcast, Blast's deal with the city and with the government who are behind the project is still intact. It has not been announced that it's been closed or anything, and yes, everything I've heard from people behind the scenes suggests it will continue for now. Though obviously things are prone to change. Things can change very quickly, as demonstrated with the LEC deal. It's cool getting money and it's cool forging big deals like this, but if you alienate your fan base, I don't know if you're cutting your nose off to spite your face there. I suggest you are. You are nothing like your fans, so I'd expect movement on that front as well. And now obviously LEC, though having kind of emerged at the forefront of League of Legends almost in the past couple of years since its rebrand from the EU LCS, has now got to re-earn that trust of fans and even those who work internally at Riot Games, not even on the esports side of stuff. There's a huge spectrum of people that were severely disappointed and upset with this deal. So that's definitely something worth noting. No doubt you've seen it already if you do follow esports at all on social media, however. So 2 more stories to wrap up the week. We've got FaZe Clan in a partnership with Verizon. Now, Verizon obviously already worked with Dignitas and has established like a 5G training facility for the organisation. And this partnership is quite run-of-the-mill, really, but it's another major move by Verizon, So obviously also involved with the LCS, so capturing big games, big teams in North America, no less, which makes complete sense, obviously. So they're not being stupid with how they're sponsoring leagues and teams and such. But yeah, it's just that's a move that's worth noting, but I don't think it's anything for me to shout about and really dig into at this point. And then the final story I will cover this week on ESI Digest is Mitch Marner joining the ownership group of OverActive Media. Now, Mitch Marner is a professional ice hockey player, and he is invested in OverActive Media, which is the parent company of quite a few brands. We can get into it quickly. Toronto Defiant in Overwatch League, Toronto Ultra in the Call of Duty League, Mad Lions, and then it owns a couple of other companies as well. So he's got access to kind of market himself in Spain and in North America, specifically Canada, which makes complete sense for him. And I believe he'd been streaming with like Methods on the Ultra Call of Duty team, and obviously enjoyed it and decided to get a part of it. Now, we see celebrities and athletes invest in esports quite a lot these days, but they never really get too involved, whereas he has been described as a brand ambassador, so you can expect to see him collaborate on streams, videos and such, maybe appear at events when they're back on, when obviously the global pandemic has buggered off. And yeah, it seems like quite a bit more of an intensive, well thought out and more involved, not only investment but partnership on the behalf of Marner and Overactive Media. So this podcast, as always, is available everywhere. If you don't know that already, Spotify, Google, Apple, smaller podcast platforms, you can find it there, as well as YouTube, and it's also in a written form. Goes out every Friday afternoon UK time on esportsinsider.com. I was Adam Fitch. I hope you all have a great week and have had a great week, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.